fresh out the box.
Fresh California plums.
Welcome to another episode of Fresh Film Fridays, the podcast where two dudes pick the newest films streaming or in theaters and discuss them. Today we're talking about 2022's Terrifier 2, which was directed by Damien Leone. I'm your co-host, Alec.
Oh, I'm Eric. Just kidding, it's Justin. And today we have with us special guest, Matt.
What is up, everyone?
Matt Banever, back from... I don't know. Oh, you didn't do any of the 13 Days of Halloween with us this year, did you?
No, I don't know if there's someone I should talk to about that, but never even got asked.
We have an HR department, so yeah, I'll get you their contact info. You can reach out to them.
I'll lodge a formal complaint.
Well, welcome back. This is your first time on Fresh Film Fridays, right?
Yeah, I didn't even know it until 1 second ago when you said it, and I wasn't even supposed to be on until last night when you texted me that you watched this movie, and I was like, oh God, so did I. And you're like, jump on the podcast. I was like, word.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you worked it in, because, I mean, you're a huge horror fan. We only do the newest films on this podcast or whatever, so...
Yeah, listen to some of them.
Yeah, so just so happened that this is a horror film that just came out, and, people are talking about this one because it's so fucking brutal. So I figured, yeah, we might as well get it on here. Now, have you seen the first one, Matt?
No, I did not. And I was going to watch the first one the other day, but I originally asked this person to go see the second one. Thank God those plans did not work out. And then she started watching the first one, texted me and said, yeah, it was like, okay, you know, some of the kills were a little campy. I was like, all right, well, it sounds like the second one is kind of like what a lot of movies do, like Top Gun Maverick, where they take all the best parts of the first one that they didn't really do, and now that they have a little more money, just basically redo it a lot more intense.
Yeah.
Why'd you have to bring Top Gun into this? This was in theaters, right?
Yeah, it's in theaters right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Justin, same as you did not see Terrifier 1, right?
No, this is the first I've heard about it. Twitter has been posting a lot, and I saw the creepy clown face, and then you decided to do it, and I was like, all right.
All right.
Those are all fake Twitter accounts.
Yeah.
It's just Alec, like, you guys should really see this.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, so I saw this a couple years ago, like before we even started doing Wheel of Horror, and Jesus Christ, the first one's intense. Like, there's a kill from that still stands out to me, and I'm just like, it's hard to watch, the first one. This one is even harder to watch. So if you had trouble with the first one, don't watch this one, because yeah, as Matt was saying, they basically just ratcheted up everything. I mean, the gore is more intense, the story is more intense, it's way longer than it needs to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, this is an improvement on the first one in every regard. But Jesus, it is so unbelievably brutally intense to watch. So yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on it. What you guys think?
All right. Well, first, I don't think any of us, I don't know, maybe Justin did, but I had to break this up into 4 parts. Like, I could not sit through one viewing. I had to stop 4 different times because I just kept feeling like I was going to throw up. Like, it was so... I've never had such a miserable experience watching a movie. Like, I started it on my TV. I ended it on my phone because I couldn't even, like, handle that much just coming at me. I've actively spent the last 24 hours talking people out of watching it because people keep commenting on my story like, oh, I wanted to watch it. I'm like, oh my God, for the love of God, no. And they're like, but like, I like kind of, you know, some of those like action movies. I was like, this is not that. I was like, there are no kills in this movie. There's no murders in this movie. It's straight up long scenes of torture. Like, I could not find a way to verbally communicate the level of intensity that I watched these people be dismembered, and the camera just stays on it. Like, never pans away. You just watch this all happen. And I just felt so sad watching all of this. So that's my very rational, honestly, I feel justified in feeling not good about watching this movie.
Yeah. Justin, what about you?
I mean, Okay, so from a horror aspect, it's a completely different type of horror. It's not scary. Like Matt said, I mean, it's not, it wasn't like frightening.
Yeah, I agree.
It's this movie was meant to literally just be disgusting and vile, and it did a good job. The only legitimate complaint I have is, and I feel like everyone in the horror community knows this, entirely too long.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, no horror movie, I would say at most an hour 50, and that would be really long still, but 220? That's like Lord of the Rings length. Like, it's too much. Some of the positives, number one, Lauren Lavera. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. And then the entire female cast, like, where did they find these people? And I did not see the first one. If I had more time, I would have liked to watch it. So I do have some questions, like the significance of the sword. The mother was she was a lot. I was really happy when her face got blown off with a sawn off, and I was fairly okay with a lot of the kills. The only one that legitimately, like, I had to look away because my stomach, like, felt like I came back from the gym because I was texting Alec and Eric in our group, and I was like, I'm about to start it, and it was like 3:30, and this is a long movie, and Alec was like, you're cutting it close, and I was like, sure hope like I don't lose power or something, and I can't watch it. But I picked up Subway on the way home, which I haven't had in years, so I don't know what made my stomach feel worse. But the scene where her best friend, she got her arm snapped, okay, which was a lot. I was like, wow, it can't get worse than that. And then he peeled like the forearm skin in half, and I did not feel good.
Yeah, so that scene is called the bedroom scene, and it's been like dubbed that by the media because it's like so intense, and it's like depicting a lengthy murder of a supporting character. It was the most challenging thing that they worked on filming it, technically all of that stuff. It's 3 minutes of mutilation. So that scene is that's the scene where, same as you, Matt, I had to take a break. I was like, I'm going to go for a walk. And I left my house. I swear to God, I left my house, like, just went outside. I was trying to just not think about what I just saw. The other thing, just quickly to what you were saying, Justin, about how long it is. Like, yes, obviously, way too long for a slasher film. I love Dr. Sleep. I love The Shining. I'm okay with longer horror films, but this did not need to be this long. And even the director says it's too long. And he edited it, too. So he's like, I'll potentially split the next part into 2 parts because I never want to make a 2.5-hour movie again.
Before these podcasts, I like to be a little informed. And I went on IMDb, and I was shocked but not surprised about the lack of, like, trivia. Because normally in every movie, there's, like, cool trivia. But because people, like, enjoy making a film. But all the trivia on IMDb is like, the ambulance that drove by was not scripted. It really drove by. I was like, that's the trivia you have? Like, you have nothing else about this movie you can, like, show us? It was just so unbearable. And I think also, like, I don't know if it was maybe not watching the first one, but it's also, like, not that great of a movie. Like, it doesn't really make sense. Like, I really had no idea what was kind of going on or what, like, the significance of anything really was. Like, things were going on, like Art the Clown just kind of walking around murdering people. Like, why that family? What, you know, little stuff like that. I was just like, this is just like a poorly made movie. And then it's just about the torture scenes. And yeah, the bedroom scene was truly the worst thing I have ever seen. I think, like, a lot of people, I don't know, maybe our age, around, like, I want to say like 2008, 9, 10, there was all these websites out, like Two Girls, One Cup, where you could watch just, like, really awful things online. One Guy, One Jar, like, all these awful things. I put the bedroom scene above all of those that I saw. And, like, it really was, like, horrible. And I saw all the Saws in theaters, all the Hostels, all the Human Centipedes. Every single person I've talked to in the last 24 hours, I was like, it makes those movies feel like PG-13. Like, it really is leaps and bounds beyond anything I could ever comprehend to watch.
That's why I thought you would be a good guest, Matt, because, like, you love, the Saw movies. When we were growing up, you were, like, such an advocate of those.
Love them. I have the collector's box set.
Yeah, and for me, like, you know, they were just too intense for me, those movies. Then seeing this, I was like, all right, all right, like this stuck with me. Like I watched it yesterday. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking about that girl in the bedroom when she gets everything torn apart and then the vinegar and the salt poured on her wounds, and I'm just like, I can't handle this shit.
Yeah.
I love horror movies, but not like this.
Yeah. I think the other thing is about like a lot of gore movies, gore more slasher movies, is that there's a reason for the torture. There's a reason that whoever you're watching gets killed. Like in the Saw movies, it's like the game, they have to get out of it. And if they don't, you watch them die. But you know that going in. The bedroom scene was out of nowhere, a side character, the longest torture scene of the movie, and left you feeling like, what the fuck was that? Why? Like, I didn't even know her name going into this scene, and I just watched her get dismembered and salt and vinegar poured on her, like, scalped brain, and her forearm get ripped open like a wishbone, and all of this other stuff. I was just like, what's the reason for this? And then the worst part about that and the mashed potato scene with the mom was like the witnesses. During those scenes, witnesses come in and see it, like another family member sees it. But again, there's no payoff. There's no like, oh man, he really got them. It's just like, why? What the hell?
Yeah. It almost seems like he's aware of like the camera, like sort of thing. It's like he knows that there's going to be like the kid walking in and seeing this. It's like he set up the mom at the table, set up the whole dinner thing, set up the scene where he's in the bed cutting the girl's leg as the mom comes in. You're right. It's almost like he's aware that there's going to be an audience where he shouldn't be,
Yeah, exactly. It was just like it kind of went back to that opening scene where I don't know what was going on, where they were like had the food truck and stuff, and it was like a fever dream or whatever, but it kind of felt like a show within a movie at certain times, and I never knew really what my role was as the viewer. And it was not fun.
Well, since neither of you saw the first one, what questions do you have? And I can try to fill that in and maybe it would make a little bit more sense. But to be fair, the first one got a lot of criticism because it's basically the exact thing you guys are talking about, where it's just like, there was no point to any of this. So this one, they tried to like give a little bit more of a backstory, make you sympathize with the characters a little bit more, but I don't really think it hit the mark as much. I think Terrifier 3 is probably going to do that. But yeah, what questions did you guys have about the first one that didn't really make sense in this one?
Who's the little girl clown?
That was my question.
Boom. No idea. She's not in the first one at all.
Like he literally just started seeing her and we're just rolling with it.
Yep. I was so confused when I saw that too. And I was like, this girl wasn't in the first one. They never explain it. So you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, because the weird thing about that is he was imagining her.
Yeah.
But then she was doing the kid's voice. So was he doing the kid's voice?
Yeah.
I can't answer that because that girl is new. Yeah.
At the end, they saw her, right? The brother and sister like saw her like pick up the art's head.
You're right.
So
okay, all right. So I can't answer the girl. So yeah, the girl is not in that. None of the characters in this movie are in, with the exception of the lady at the very, very, very end who like gives birth to his head again. She's in the first one.
What was the sword? What's the significance with the sword?
Yeah, I guess that ties into my question, which is like the things I've read is that they resurrect art, which I never really got that feeling in this movie, but like, is that all connected?
No, so that's the other thing that doesn't really make sense. So the way the first one ends is Art blowing his own head off with a pistol. He puts a pistol in his mouth and pulls the trigger. They take his body to the morgue, and that's where this one starts. It's like him escaping the morgue or whatever. Again, I didn't see any resurrection or him getting brought back from the dead for that, so no idea how he survived getting shot in the head and surviving that. No clue.
Okay, so in the first one, is he like he's a human clown, but then he comes back as like a demon clown in this one then?
As far as we know in the first one, until the very end, there is nothing supernatural. He seems like a normal, crazy person who's just dressing up, being creepy, doing creepy things, killing people, and then at the very end, he shoots himself in the head. The morgue, the lights start like